Hello Dicers! Welcome back to Dice Decides. So I would like to start a new series called Space Talk. And do I even have to explain what it is? I think it's pretty obvious. I'm gonna talk about space stuff. I know, it sounds vague because everything is space, technically. But we're gonna talk about stuff in outer space. So in this episode, I'm gonna start with the main thing that we all rely upon, and it is our closest star, the sun. All right, so yeah, let's talk about the sun. So we'll start off with the age of the sun, which is 4.6 billion years, which is quite a bit, you know, when you think about it. I mean, even a billion years is a lot, or even a million. I mean, to me, even 1,000 years, but 4.6 billion, that's a lot of years. But yeah, that's the age of the sun. Now for the distance from the Earth, which is 150 million kilometers. On average. I mean, it does vary a little bit because our orbit isn't completely circular. It's a bit elliptic. So anyway, 150 million kilometers is quite a bit. I mean, it's insane to think about that we're so far away from the sun, yet it still warms up our planet. Crazy. All right. So next, we move on to size. So the size of the sun, or the volume, is 1.4 quintillion cubic kilometers. I didn't even know what quintillion meant before looking this up. I still don't think I remember, but it's a lot. To compare it to the size of the Earth, you would need a lot of Earths to fill up the sun. How many, you ask? Well, let me tell you, it is 1.3 million Earths to fill up the sun. That's mind-boggling. What? You need 1.3 million Earths to get the size of the sun? That just blows my mind. I can't even... What? Space stuff. Anyway, now for the sun's circumference on equator, it is 4.4 million kilometers. So to give a little bit of perspective, typical passenger plane would have to fly 200 days to complete a full circle around the sun once. 200 days. Yeah, it's that big. I mean, that's without any stops as well, because it takes an average of 45 hours to do it on Earth's equator. So, big difference. Yeah. So I did some math on this. It's like 4.4 million kilometers divided by the average speed of a passenger plane, which is around 900 kilometers per hour. So the kilometers cancel out and you're left with 4,888 hours. And then to turn it into days, you divide it by 24 hours, the hours cancel out, and you're left with 204 days. So yeah, sun is pretty big. That's what I was getting at. Space stuff. Anyway, so let's talk temperature. So we all know that the sun is pretty hot, but how hot is it exactly? Well, the surface is about 5,800 Kelvin, but if you go deep down into the sun, to the very core, which is the inner 20%, it rises up to an insane 15.7 million Kelvin. And I don't really have anything to compare that to. I mean, yeah, it's just a crazy number, basically. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could melt anything. So, yeah, pretty hot. Pretty hot. The sun is definitely very hot. Now for the characteristics. The sun is obviously our main source of energy. Our whole planet is able to have life purely because of the sun. If it wasn't there, we would be not here. I mean, we wouldn't be talking. I wouldn't be making this video in the first place. So, yeah. The sun also has cool sun flares. I'm sure some of you have seen them. Where like, it's like a I don't know, like a huge volcano or something. It just releases these solar prominence, it's called. And they can extend many thousand kilometers. The record for the longest one is 800,000 kilometers. So that's almost 1 million kilometers, guys. Pretty big. And they can last from somewhere from about a day to even months. Here's a video of it kind of like lasting about a day, I guess. But I checked at the clock and the big prominence lasted about 8 hours. So it's interesting. It's very interesting how, in my opinion, how quick they are, because when you consider the size of them, they don't last very long. So when you think about it, it's like insane speeds, really. Happens so quick. Like here's another video. It's so beautiful in a way. Like just spewing out these hot liquids and then they're like being sucked in again. The sun is an interesting thing. So yeah, the sun has a magnetic field just like our planet. On the poles, the magnetic field is 1 to 2 Gauss, and Gauss is like a measurement of magnetic induction or whatever it's called. But solar prominences are more magnetic. They range from about 10 to 100 Gauss. But the most magnetic things are sunspots. And they reach up to 3,000 Gauss. That's such a big difference. And the sunspot number on the sun and the size varies a lot. There can be a lot of sunspots. Some years there's like very few sunspots, but other years there's not a single day without sunspots. So the sunspot cycle is quasi-periodically 11 years. And don't worry, I didn't know what quasi-periodically meant either when looking this up, but it basically means it's not completely periodic, because it can vary. It can be 12 years, 10 years, and so the sunspots increase in number and decrease. But then we can have some years where there's almost no sunspots at all, which was 2019. That's why the pandemic happened. I mean, all right, I've talked about this before. I made a video about sunspots. Go check it out. It's about how sunspots are related to just human activity and just how it relates to our lives directly.
So many sunspots were happening in the late 50s, and it's linked to how people behave. People started collaborating more, cooperating, doing all this crazy space stuff.
It's very linked, all these things, but anyway, we're talking about the sun. Sunspots are very magnetic, and yeah, we're having more sunspots nowadays, so life is good. All right, that's the sun. So I found a very detailed image in Wikipedia where it names all the different parts of the sun. So we have the core, obviously, the very hot spot, and then the radiative zone, and then there's so many. Convection zone, and then we have corona. What? We have a flare, and then the prominence I was talking about, and solar wind, and yeah, it's a lot of things. A lot of things happening. Sunspot. So in the core, the temperature and pressure are so intense that nuclear fission happens. You know where else that happens? Nagasaki. Anyway, so that's it. That's the sun, guys. Very interesting thing that keeps us all alive. So I'm very grateful. I think the sun is beautiful from far away and close up. We have managed to record some amazing things close up, so I think it's great. Sun is amazing. Keep shining on us, sun, and keep those sunspots coming. We need those. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Hope you guys enjoy this space talk video. I want to talk about more stuff, like all the planets and stuff. It's a very interesting topic for me, so I think it can be very fun and educational to do this series every now and again. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. So remember, do gently tap on that like button and ring that bell so you don't miss an upload. Thanks for watching, Dicers. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you next time.